Well, gentlemen, we gather here today to talk about a well-oiled, well-tested platform. You know, you guys are probably a little bit bored of seeing me build these masterclass builds, but it's the most desired thing that most radio operators want. Most radio operators these days have a 100-watt radio, right? Like my Derail Striker bench radio that we're going to use here. This is probably the most common used radio in the market share here today, by far, hands down, is the 100 and 125 watt radio. To make it feasible for us to do anything with that and have a safety margin of headroom as far as the amplifier is concerned, we have to build like a 4-pill. The minimum that you'd ever want to run is like a HD heavy duty 2-pill with a 125 watt radio behind it. Okay. Something of this style, 2-pill. Well, the best bang for your buck is really the 4-pill. The 2-pill is going to get you about what? Maybe 500 watts of drive? 500 watts of power, right? Or this will get you 800 to 1,000 with headroom left, and amp's going to run cooler. I went ahead and I painted these in epoxy gloss black, which was a challenge, taking into account it snowed and rained and snowed and rained and snowed and rained non-stop for like the last week. The cases are inside and outside epoxy coated. We did a little bit of a filter cap set up on this one. Let's turn this up on its side so you guys can actually see what we got going on. Did a little bit of a filter cap bank on the inside. I got away from doing these for a long time, putting caps and stuff. I mean, it looks really pretty. We've got the advantage of the lithium batteries now and the supercapacitors, which can give up the energy almost as fast as the amplifier can drink it. So to supplement that with capacitors is really not that big of a deal anymore. It was like 10 years ago when I started building it was a really big deal, but continuing to strive forward and stay away from using the blue Alibaba capacitors and use the best components that money can physically get us into our hands. This is the platform I've come up with. Did a little bit of capacitor bank on this one. Of course, as always, we got our standardized 175 amp Anderson clip with rubber booty and disconnect handle. The amp does not need 4-gauge wire going into it. It needs like 8-gauge, but the idea, the premise, the reason that I go ahead and spend the money on the 4-gauge and I put the Anderson clip on there is to help promote the idea that we don't want to run 8-gauge to our battery, we want to run 4-gauge to our battery, because there's so much amperage loss, especially when it comes to sideband. So let's run you around the loop. Let's turn the amp off here real quick, and let's do a little performance test. So this is a 1,000 watt slug in peak. The one next to it is a 1,000 watt slug in average. That one there is a 5 watt slug in reverse. And we're overrunning on 15 volts. Hello, audio, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the radio. Hello, 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 hello. That's our amplifier. Hello, 1, 2. Relatively clean, like squeaky clean. So now that we know about 95% of our power is going out on frequency, hello, hello, 1,000 watts, right? No big deal. Let's go take a look at our input reflect here real quick. Hello, 1, 1. Hello, 1, 1. It wants more drive. Now, I don't know about you all, You guys that are in the striker community have little kittens that come flying out of your buttholes. Oh my God, I got 3 bars, but when the amp's off, I have 0. Right. And when I modulate, it drops down. No, it drops to 0. That's good. That's what we're looking for. The guys in the striker community get way carried away about this SWR bridge. The radio can put up with a ton of punishment, right? That 4 bars represents, in real world numbers, let me slide a camera over here so the angle isn't so rough on you guys. In real world numbers, that 4 bars represents a quarter what is 400 mils, 350 mils, 350 milliwatts coming back to the radio with like a 2.5, 3 watt dead key going forward, but when you modulate, it drops down to 200 mils, and that's with 125 watts going in. There's not an SWR issue. There's just not. And you know what? Before we move off of that, let me reframe this a second. Oh, geez. Come on, camera. Man, camera is fighting me today, yo. Okay. Let's turn the amp off. Here's our pass-through tune. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hello, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Nothing. So, what we basically just demonstrated here to you guys is that the camera, I don't know how to operate it, even though I've done a couple thousand of these. Number 1. Number 2, great input tune, great pass-through tune. It's making great power. Number 3, it's all going out on frequency. So you can have your watt meter over here jumping and doing all kinds of crazy shit and running off the scale. But unless the RF is within a receivable frequency that you can actually hear on the other end, it's wasted energy. I will take any day of the week, any month of the year, any hour of the day. Oh, I don't know, 1,000 watts on frequency versus 1,800 watts and only about 600 watts on frequency. So, let's change radios now. We're going to go to the SR490, which is about a 200 watt radio. Let's go ahead and let's zoom in over here. About 180 watts worth of drive, which will produce about 1,200 watts worth of power. We're hitting the stop peg. So we'll go up to 2x. So now when the needle moves fully to the right, it's 2,000 watts. 1,200 watts. With about 30 more watts of drive. Which is good. We got to show that the capability is there in the amplifier. I don't suggest we run it like that. I suggest that we run it a little bit differently. I suggest we run it with like a striker. Most strikers are not like the derail striker. Most strikers do about 80-90 watts. At 80-90 watts, you're going to get about 800 watts worth of output out of this box. It's just going to do it all day long. Okay. Let's go over here. We'll turn the striker back on. Amp is on. Now let's flip on the sideband delay. First we'll try it at AM to show you the delay of the relay. Okay. Nice, good, solid delay, but not long enough that it's annoying. And it knocks out your receive. Like when you're sitting there talking to somebody, you on key, you want to have the relay come back from being latched to unlatched so you can hear everything within about half second. But you want to have the delay long enough so that the relay is not sitting there going choo, 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 in between each one of your word pulses. So now we're in sideband. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, audio, 1, 2. The reason I like running sideband in the test is I get this often. But, hey BBI, you showed it in the video. I only needed 56 amps worth of draw on the power supply. I'm like, yeah, but when you go to talk sideband, it pulls like 100 amps. That's why we tell you, one, this meter here is an RMS reading meter. It's not peak. It's not peak. So basically whatever you're reading here, unless it's in sideband mode, you're gonna have to double it by 2-ish, 2.25-ish to get the peak reading number. So let's be in AM for a minute. Hello. The BBI, it showed 60 amps worth of draw. Why do I need a 100 amp power supply? Well, because when you go to sideband, let's watch the same meter again. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pulling 95 amps. The other thing we need to think about is my workbench is running at 15 volts, the most optimum that you're going to be able to get for the environment that you're trying to work the amplifier within. When you go and put this in your vehicle, you're going to be around 14 volts. Okay? As your voltage goes down, your amperage is going to go up. So if you're running this on your base and you've got your power supply set up for 14 volts flat, you're going to pull another 5-10 amps to get the same amount of power. It's just the way it works. So keep that in mind. That's why you need at least a 100 amp power supply to run your 4-pill, plus the total amount of current that your radio pulls. Okay, Masterclass build number 44 in high gloss black epoxy paint, so it'll never come off. Never ever will it never come off. Let's put a lid on it and let's try it that way. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, this thing has got a super high flow fan on it. And the reason we want to do the super high flow fan is, well, because I wanted to do a super high flow fan. No, I won't change the fan out. This one is for sale, Masterclass number 44. We're going to ask $850 for it, plus the ride. And first one to call, you guys know the routine. First one of you guys to call, or text, or hit me up, or shoot me a message on Patreon, or text, or whatever, you get it. This is an awesome little box. This is the same thing I have in my own truck, except I don't have it painted black. It's been running for a long time, and I love it. I love it. It's been clear coated on the inside, so it'll last forever, like this. The inside will never corrode. I mean, as you guys have come to expect, we pull out all the stops here. Okay, let's get on to the other one. Gentlemen, I appreciate you tuning in. Okay, this is number 45. It's the twin to the other amplifier. It's built in the same exact way, except I flip-flopped all the wire color codes backwards. So like this on the other amp is black, and it's red over here. It's black here, then red over there. This would be red, and that's black in the other box. I just flip-flopped the color code on the inside of the box. Otherwise, it's wired exactly the same. So we're going to see exactly the same results, or relatively close to it. Let's turn the amp off. Let's start with all of our tests one more time. Let's go over here. So 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 watt in average, 5 watt slug and reverse. Hello, 1, 2. Okay. Showing our 130 watts coming from our derail striker. Here's our pass-through tune. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Everything's nice and flat where we want to keep it. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's go up here. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Everything's the same. Let's go ahead, let's do sideband. Let's run it through its gambit. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, audio, 1, 2. Dead nuts on sideband, good to go. Take this back to AM. Let's zoom back out. Let's take our sideband delay off. Let's go over here. Let's look at our spectrum. Here is radio. Here is amp. Isn't that amazing? The wire lengths are all exactly the same. But still, if we're looking at almost 50 dBm down, we do have a little tiny bit of schmutz there, but yeah. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Nothing to be concerned with. All right. This guy here has already got a home. I've got a friend of mine that's got a 24 pill that I built way back in the day. And he started talking to me about buying this thing 2 days ago when I started putting it together. So let me get the tin on it. Let's get the fan running. As you know, this one's got a lower profile, slower turning fan. So it's not going to make as much noise as the first one, but not having that turbo fan on there means that you don't have quite the amount of operational key down time. You just don't. Less airflow means more heat, means shorter life of the transistors. You guys know. Everybody that's watching this video, you've been here, done this, you've heard all the speeches before. Let's put the tin on it. Well, gentlemen, I gotta say thank you for tuning in, following along, and watching what we're doing here today. We're just over here doing what we do best, making products and getting them out the damn door. So, on that note, I'm gonna go. I wanna say a big shout out to our friends at Penta Labs, our friends at Excess Power, our friends at Siglent, friends at MechMan, friends at Matchlet, Bird, of course, and Coaxial Dynamics. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. I appreciate every single one of you guys down here on Patreon that are making this all possible for all of us. I want to say thank you. Gentlemen, my name is BBI, and from the bottom of my heart, I said I'll see ya. Click, click, click.